Hello, my name is Norm Pringle. In the 50s, I was a disc jockey at CKDA, Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Ah, the 50s, sometimes known as the fabulous 50s. I remember it as the birth of rock and roll. My first rock and roll disc was Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock. And shortly after, along came a 45 recording of That's All Right Mama and Heartbreak Hotel by an unheard-of singer named Elvis Presley. Well, it seems kind of amusing now as I look back. The librarian, his name was Ernie Pierce, and I think he still lives in Santa Monica. He handed me these discs and said, "Hey, Norm, I have no idea what program this Elvis guy goes on. He's neither country nor pop as far as he was concerned." Well, I had two shows on the air at that time. One was a country and western program, and then I had a late-night pop show where I played the top 40 kind of stuff. Well, we just had and we also had a TV station, and I had a weekly TV show where the high school kids acted out the latest songs. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But getting back to the librarian, he says, "This guy is neither pop or country." He says, "I don't know where to put him." Then he showed me the album cover, and he says, "Well, he plays the guitar, so why don't we put him on your country program?" So I was always game for something new, so that's how I started it. I put him on my country show. Well, it wasn't long before Elvis, of course, became an international musical giant, so I featured him on both shows. And he provided some great moments in my radio career. I remember the boss came in one day and said, "Hey, Norm, why don't you give that guy a rest?" I said, "Great idea, boss." So I went on the air and said, "This is Give Elvis a Rest Week." And we managed to spend a whole week without playing an Elvis Presley record. And there was a United Press reporter who used to work out of the radio station, and he'd send news reports on his United Press wire. And he said that I was giving an Elvis a rest week. So he put this on the wire, and also neighboring states picked up the idea, and there was actually an Elvis rest week. And I went to the other extreme, and I conducted what I call the Presley-thon. I played Elvis for 10 hours straight, as long as the listeners would send in money for my pet charity at that time, was the Orphans and Crippled Children's Fund. I kept playing Elvis recordings. Well, about 4 o'clock in the morning, even I had enough of Elvis. Well, I sent umpteen telegrams, and I phoned Colonel Tom Parker many, many times to try to get Elvis to make a personal appearance on the West Coast. Well, the big day came, and the largest venue on the West Coast was the British Empire Stadium, where 26,000 screaming fans jammed in on the grounds there to hear their idol. And you know, Canada, it turned out sadly, was the only country outside of the U.S. that ever experienced an Elvis Presley concert. I had a few firsts with Elvis, and I haven't heard anybody say that they aren't. Along with my friend Red Robinson, he was a famous disc jockey in Vancouver at CKWX. We were apparently the first two DJs in Canada to play an Elvis recording. And then on my TV show, I had the very, very first, and no one's ever disputed this, the very first Elvis impersonator. His name was Jim Smith, and you know, he still lives in Victoria, British Columbia. I hear there are now over 2,000 Elvis impersonators. They don't call them Elvis impersonators. They call them tribute artists. I think I had the record, too, for the longest continuous Elvis Presley-thon, 10 hours. And one of the few DJs to take part in the Elvis press conference following the concert there in Vancouver. The colonel, you know, he wouldn't let Elvis do one-on-one radio interviews. So, but we did manage to get an interview with Elvis for this press conference. And two of my old friends, Red Robinson, formerly of CKWX Vancouver, and Mark Raines, who was a radio reporter for CKNW Vancouver, and he later became a member of Parliament. You'll hear there are two voices doing most of the interviewing, and along with myself, on this tape that we're about to play. So here it is now. Get your CD burners ready, because this is a historical audio tape of the greatest entertainer of the 20th century. The date is August the 15th, 1957. Elvis was only 22 years of age. And the first question I asked him was, Elvis, what's your latest recording?
Speaking of records, have you got any that are coming out that you've recorded that we haven't heard yet?
Yes, the theme song for my next picture will be out about the middle of next month.
What is the picture?
Jailhouse Rock.
That's a single 45.
Yes.
How did you find Hal Wallace as a producer-director?
He's a very fine gentleman.
Did he help you out, or who was the big help and aid in your show, Loving You?
Well, there's nobody who helps you out. They have a director and a producer. As far as the acting and as far as singing and all, you're on your own. I mean, nobody tells you how to do that. You have to learn it yourself.
How do you rate yourself as an actor?
Pretty bad. I mean, that's something you learn through experience. I think that now maybe I might accomplish something at it through the years.
Do you think it's just for the sake of acting natural? Don't you do that in your last two pictures? I'd say you have.
In some scenes I was pretty natural, in others I was trying to act, and when you start trying to act, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that Jordan Ayers helped you a lot in your career with your songs, backing you up?
Well,
do you think the assist?
The boys have done a very fine job, the Jordan Ayers have, but actually there's a lot of groups, there's a lot of very fine groups that back different people up on their records.
They are under contract with Capitol, are they not?
Yes.
I know you're under terrific strain after a show. How do you taper down? What relaxes your nerves after a big show like tonight?
Well, take for instance last night we had a show in Vancouver, and I didn't sleep in it till about 10 o'clock today. I get all keyed up, and it's tough to relax.
What do you do before a show to help deter some of the excitement or the tension?
I just walk around and swallow and clench my fist. Yes, sir.
What was the question? The guitar.
Guitar. How much you pay for the guitar?
What did you pay for?
About $500, I think. Yes.
Specially constructed or just
No, it's a standard guitar. I have a leather cover over it. I had that made.
Ladies next.
Do you find that touring is much more harder on you than making movies or doing TV shows?
Well, touring is the roughest part. It's really rough because, I mean, you're in a town and you do a show, you come off, you're riding in a car, you're going to the next town.
Would you prefer more to making movies and doing TV, or would you rather just stick to movies and records?
Well, I think every performer likes to work to a live audience.
How's the Pacific Northwest struck you, what you've seen of it and performed?
It's terrific. It's really beautiful country up here.
How's the weather down in Memphis when you left? Or were you in Memphis before coming to the Northwest?
I was home. It was beautiful weather.
How was it?
Why did you have the Great Northern train stop 2 miles out of town today and get off there?
Train stop.
Sorry, great.
Planning.
The fans were waiting for you?
Well, usually that's right. I can't get in. You see, I have to prepare for a show that night, and
Not everybody wants to be around for it, right?